Hello, lovely people. It's Nicola, Stitches and Slapdashery, and I am finishing the housework that I started yesterday. It feels really good to get the vacuuming done. I'm tidying as I go. I'm bringing out some extra blankets to put on the sofas so we're all ready for when it gets cold. And I have to finish the kitchen, but I am procrastinating. I'm very good at that. Just having a quick shake for lunch. It was a sachet of nutritional powder that came in my auction basket at the festival the other week, and soy milk. So I just shook it up in here. It's quite filling, actually. I also had a banana. But I wasn't very hungry. I just needed something to keep me going. So I have the stamina to clean my kitchen. It's looking a bit of a disaster in there right now. So it'll be really nice to have all the tidying done, the dirty dishes in the dishwasher, and the floor mopped. So that's been my morning so far. Not incredibly exciting. It's another absolutely glorious sunny day. The irrigation guy came today and he blew out the sprinklers. The thing with underground sprinklers is that you have to have someone come and blow air through all of the pipes so that there's no water left inside the pipes for the winter. Otherwise, it will freeze and it will break the pipes. So he has been today. So that is kind of the official start of winter, isn't it? Not only that, but we need to put our winter tires on our cars. But Mr. Stitches decided to hold off on that. He was going to do it Sunday, but he's decided to do it next Sunday, or maybe even the following week, because it's really not cold enough. We're supposed to get 21 a couple of days this week. So yeah, I don't think we've got any danger of snow or ice at the moment. Neat and tidy blankets, one on the back of the sofa, one for knees. 2 blankets on this sofa for me to snuggle up in. And yeah, my side table's a bit of a mess, but at least my Technicolor Dreamcoat project is all tucked away in that bag again for now while I finish the hoodie Saurus. I've got a little orange and yellow dishcloth project there, but that's definitely not urgent. That can wait for whenever. And then there's my hoodie Saurus project, and my coffee table is all nice and clear. Relatively clear. I've set you up on a little tripod behind my sewing machine. Don't need any extra light because I'm facing the window now that I've moved my sewing room around. So one of the things I did while I was tidying and cleaning around was I was thinking about what I'm going to take on holiday. I still need to come up with a knitting and crochet project. I couldn't believe that in my list of things to pack, I had not included a knitting or crochet project. I'm slipping. However, that's something I still have to give thought to. But what I've also done is I've got a couple of backpacks out. I'm not sure if I'm going to take my Cabin Max, which is the absolute maximum size you can take as carry-on, or the smaller backpack I bought last year just to go back to visit my mum for a week. I'm trying to minimize as much as possible how much I have to carry when I go on holiday. It's so much more comfortable if you just got to grab a lighter backpack rather than a heavier one. And it fits better in the overhead compartment if you put it up on the shelf in the plane too. The biggest ones sometimes the biggest ones get taken away from you. Like if there's not enough room and the plane is really full, then if your bag is bigger, it's more likely to go into check-in, and I do not want to check my luggage in. Apart from the fact that I know they throw those things around like crazy and they don't really care about what's inside. They lose them. And it delays your transit time to your next flight. And when we've got 3 flights in a row, as we always do when we go back home, you don't want delays. The transition times are not as tight as they have been because they did insist on a little bit more time in between flights, but still, Delays are stressful. So I just looked in my closet and I thought, okay, I need to figure out what I'm going to be wearing. And so I've decided on blue jeans, black jeans, 2 different fleece sweaters, and probably 3 t-shirts. That should do me for a week. And 1 pair of shoes. The hikers, my new waterproof hikers from Mountain Warehouse, are perfect for this because we're expecting it to rain. Of course, it's Britain in October. Of course, it's going to rain. And also another thing we have to do is pack our waterproof jackets and pants or trousers, depending on how you like to put it. And we bought some waterproofing stuff from, I don't know where Mr. Stitches got it from. Maybe it was Amazon. I don't know. But it's a special wash and waterproofing product that you use to re-waterproof your outerwear. And we know that needs to be done. We took these waterproofs away with us to Yorkshire back in 2019. And they did a fair job. But when you're up on Ilkley Moor in a rainstorm, nothing can hold up on that. Hold up to that, really. We really loved Yorkshire, though. Staying in Ilkley was lovely. We were at a really nice Airbnb, and there was a vegetarian cafe right down on the main street on the way to, what was it? Is it a Tesco? Sainsbury's? Don't know. But there was a good supermarket and a good vegetarian cafe and some good walking around there. And of course, it wasn't far from Skipton. And at the time, I was going to Yarndale. Do I have a Yarndale bag hanging up there? I don't know if you can see. Oh, you can just about see it. Right there. So it's been years that we bought those things years ago. I can't remember how long we've had them, but it doesn't hurt to add a little bit of waterproofing to them every now and again. So one of the tops I want to take is a turtleneck. This is a really old turtleneck of mine. You know, when you go on holiday, you feel like you want to wear new clothes and be all super smart, but really it's all about being comfortable. I think that's more important. But this little hole here, a little hole right at the bottom of where the collar meets the body, I'm ashamed to admit that's been there a long time and I haven't fixed it yet. So what I'm going to do, I'm not even going to bother changing out my Microtex needle. I'm just going to use the black thread and the needle that's in there. And I'm just going to blast a quick few stitches across where the hole is so that it doesn't look too bad. It's at the back of the neck, right? And I always wear it underneath something. So it's not like people have noticed I have a hole in my top, but yeah, probably a good idea to fix that. And then the housework is done. So I have a couple of free hours to make something, maybe another of those shopping bags out of that polyester fabric. And then it'll be time to make dinner. And then this evening I need to pop down to my friend's house. She's away on holiday right now. And she asked me to pop in today to water her plants and check on a little mouse she has in a cage down there. She has a rat rescue, so she always has rats, but they get fostered out when she goes on holiday. But this little deer mouse was a rescue, and it can't be let back out in the wild anymore. And it's nocturnal, so she really hardly ever sees it. She just puts food in there and refreshes the water every now and again, and yeah, it keeps itself to itself. So I have to just go and make sure it has water, that the plants are not dying, and that the planned power outage that she had in her area today has not affected anything negatively. So that's easy and quick. And no doubt Mr. Stitches and I will go for a walk this evening in the pitch dark. Seems a bit of a waste of a lovely sunny fall day to be down here in my sewing room, but that's okay. I'm going to get my exercise in later on, and I know if I don't grab this sewing time when I can, it won't get done. One of the sad things about holidays is that you can't take your sewing machine with you. I should ask my father-in-law if he still has my mum-in-law's sewing machine. She had a lovely Bernina. I wonder if he got rid of it. She died in 2014, 10 years ago. I don't think I'll have time to sew. I'm just kidding. We have 5 full days. By the time we've done all the traveling each end, we'll only have 5 full days to see the family members we want to see. I don't know if we'll have time to see friends, but if we do, it'll have to be planned with military precision so that we can do it, fit it all in. Okay, I'm getting on. Well, I went back to Christine's Home Affairs tutorial for this strawberry bag. She doesn't call it a strawberry bag necessarily. I'll link it underneath the video. She calls it like eco bag, foldable shopping bag or something like that. And these things always take longer than you think they're going to take, don't they? By the time you've done all the cutting, you're like, shouldn't I have actually finished all this by now? Anyway, I used the fabric that was printed with the phone stuff again. So it's really pretty. This one has an orange drawstring on it. Mostly plain on the back, except for a bit of pattern where that landed. And then this one has a purple drawstring. Yeah, and only just a minimal amount of the pattern on the back of that. And this one has a pink drawstring. A little bit on the back. So I made sure that each bag had at least one side that had as much pattern on as possible. Honestly, these French seams, I do like French seams for a fraying fabric because it does enclose the raw ends. But this stuff frays so much that after I have done the first seam where the sides are wrong sides together and trimmed them, they still fray more after I've trimmed them. And so I'm always having to go through and like pull little threads out from my seam afterwards. Very annoying. Now this part here, when you're attaching the triangle of fabric to the corner on each side, that's another place where it can get a little off kilter. And so I ended up trimming a little bit off my edges as well because they weren't matching up perfectly when I put them together. They're just little shopping bags. One other thing I did do differently, or one thing I did do differently, I made the handles a tiny bit wider. She has you cut 2 inches wide, and I cut mine 2.5. They're still pretty thin, but this is really strong fabric. And this is stitched in about 5 times because you attach the handles to the single layer of fabric. I did a double stitch there, double liner stitching. Then you fold, and then you do this seam across the bottom near the folded edge. And then when I do the top edge, I do a double back on that as well. So that's about 6 rows of stitching holding those things in. So I don't think they're going to break. And I just love the way they just pack right down, right into their little pouch. And there's no need to fold them. Why would you? They're going to be all crumpled up in there anyway. Voila. If I had those plastic cord stoppers, I could use half as much cord. But this paracord was super cheap. I got it from the dollar store. There were these little parachute cord kits for kids to make bracelets. And they came with lightweight parachute clips, the little plastic things that click into each other. And they were really dirt cheap. And it's perfectly good stuff. Just have to remember to use the lighter on the end to melt it all. I only burnt myself once. Most of the time, I'm just passing the flame across the edge quite carefully. And then you have to do it again. Once you've threaded it through, the core inside sometimes ends up sticking out of the casing. And then you have to trim it and fuse it again. There was one of them, there was actually a flame, so I had to blow it out. And then as I'm threading the second thing in, I touched it, and so I got a bit of the melted stuff on my hand. It's fine. It's fine. Nothing. No permanent damage. So there we are. 3 new little shopping bags with fun-coloured drawstring cords. Well, the boys have been home today. The job they were supposed to be working on got cancelled, and Mr. Stitches is home. I saw him walking around the garden, probably inspecting the work that the sprinkler guy did, making sure he didn't blow off any of the sprinkler heads this year. It does happen sometimes. Very annoying when they break something and they don't fix it straight away. So it's probably time to go and start prepping some lasagna. So I'll see you later. We're feeling a bit adventurous tonight. So rather than drive to my friend's to water her plants, ouch, ow, brambles, ow. Okay, the brambles just ripped my finger. We don't have many brambles here. Not used to those. What was I saying? Rather than drive to my friend's along the highway, we decided to walk. And there's this set of steps that goes down to another road, and then it goes down towards a trail. When we first moved here, they were just woods, and there was a trail that you could cycle down to get down to the lake, and it was all pretty unspoiled. But now what they've done is pave it all, and actually that allows people to drive up it in an emergency, because otherwise they've only got one way out in the case of a wildfire. So at the moment it's only open to pedestrians and cyclists, but there's a way of opening it to vehicles if they need to. It's going to be quite a hard slog back up to our house, all uphill. So this is what used to be a narrow trail, just a couple of feet wide, that we used to be able to walk or cycle along, and they've widened it so that a car can come up if it needs to. It's amazing how much closer the lake looks now that they've thinned out the trees and groomed this. So maybe this walk isn't going to be as long as I thought it was. Although it'll probably still be dark on the way back up. This is the way we're going. I brought the mail in
watered the plants, put fresh water in the mouse cage. And now we're on our way back, and of course it's all uphill, so I'm puffing and panting. We're still walking through a subdivision. The path is just around the corner. Nice city view. All you can see is lights across the lake and not much else.
Well, I'm all hot and sweaty now. We just got back. That was about an hour of walking and about 7,600 steps, half of which was uphill. So I'm just going to finish up for tonight by showing you my hoodie, my toddler hoodie. The knitting for the hood is finished, almost. The straight part's finished. I just have to do a little bit more knitting, decreasing here in the middle of the knitting where the point of the hood will be, to make it less pointy, I guess. And then you do a 3-needle bind off across these stitches. And then I can start on the spines or scales, whatever you want to call them. So that's great. Progress is being made. Time to edit and get this uploaded. Thanks again for being here. Really appreciate you watching. I know there's a lot of Vlogtobers out there, so I'm really happy that you chose to spend it with me. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.